Alf, Collectibles friends, you know we're serious when it's Black T-Shirt Friday. It's Black Friday, if you will. We've got an important subject today, XY evolutions versus evolving skies. And this is one where I really want to hear from viewership. What is your opinion on which one of these two sets, over a long-term time horizon, buying and holding sealed product, would you rather have, or both, or neither? Are there other sets that you believe are more important than these or equally as important to these that have been released over the last, let's say, 7, 8, 9 years? But before we talk specifically about some of the research I've done on both of these two products, I want to tell a story because I think it's important when we're talking about trying to time markets or trying to pick the right products. I've gotten a variety of different advice from Pokemon collectors, investors, speculators. Hey buddy, just buy the new product, just get in at a good price on the new product and just sit on it and just do that. Every time a new product has come out, then just buy some of it, sit on it, and then do it again. And it's as easy as that. There's that advice. We do get a lot of that. And then there's also, Sword and Shield is everything. You got to go in on Sword and Shield, or you got to go in on Scarlet Violet era. You want to make sure that you've got loads and loads of those boxes. And when I listen to a lot of the other investing in quotation marks channels on Pokemon, a lot of it is, this box will be a $200 box by the end of the year. This box will be a $500 box at the end of the year. This one will be a $1,000 box at the end of the year, which all very well could be true. But I am trying to figure out, of all of the sets over the last 7, 8 years, which ones are considered the most important, and these are the two that have really kind of popped up, but for different reasons. Now, let's talk about Warren Buffett for a second. We're going to kind of do a little side story thing, because Warren Buffett is known as one of the greatest investors of all time, of course. He got in on buying securities at a very early age, way before the Dow Jones was what it is, the S&P 500 was what it was. He got in way early. He's been in the market long enough to where it has worked out great for him. But I want to speak to a couple of moves that he made that are some of the bigger moves. If you listen to what Warren Buffett has said, he's actually talked against diversification for people that actually follow the markets, follow the companies, and know kind of what is going on within companies, doing research and figuring out which companies are the best, most well-run companies, and that's what they do over there at Berkshire Hathaway. Now, he does say, if you're not able to do this for a living, you don't have the time to look into this, then diversifying into like the S&P 500 is a good move. But for him specifically, it doesn't make sense for him to buy into a basket of stocks because he is doing this. He's looking into it. He's doing the research. He understands the numbers, and he is going to make his bets essentially. And he made bets on a couple of different companies over this last 40, 50 years. I guess what has it been? About 40 years that have paid off huge for him. And so Warren Buffett really has made a lot of his money when he saw an opportunity and then moved a lot of his chips to the center of the table and took that risk. I'm going to pick out two different examples. I'm sure there's many others. Black Monday, it was 1987, 1988, in that time frame. Coca-Cola, a stock that Warren Buffett loves. We all know Warren Buffett drinks like 5 Cokes a day, and somehow this guy's like 95 years old or whatever. He is a huge Coca-Cola guy. He always has been. He's a longtime shareholder of Coca-Cola. But on Black Monday, Coca-Cola stock shot downwards, and he waited. So it wasn't on Black Monday, but I think it was 2 or 3 months later when he felt like the thing had bottomed out. He moved $1 billion in the late 80s. Think about that. This was a hell of a lot of money, $1 billion in the late 80s into Coca-Cola stock. It's paid off very well for him. Another example of a huge move that he did was during the subprime mortgage crisis when the Dow Jones, I think it bottomed out at 6,500. Can you believe that? 6,500. Now it just feels like the Dow Jones is just going to go up forever. Of course it won't, but it's just been kind of moving up. What is it, at 42,000 now or something like that? Something ridiculous. It bottomed out in, 2008, 2009, about 6,500 was where the Dow Jones was. Bank of America was pennies on the dollar of what it normally was. Buffett put, I believe it was like $5 billion, moved that into Bank of America. Felt like it was run well, strong company. It was just a matter of fear, people getting out of the market, people scared about everything going on. He took advantage, and he takes advantage of these opportunities. So while, yes, you're not trying to necessarily time the market in quotation marks, there are some times when stuff just makes a lot of sense and you make moves on these things. You look at Rudy Alpha Investments. He's been doing this really over the last, 10 years, a little over 10 years for Pokemon. I know it's been a lot longer for Magic the Gathering and everything else, but let's talk specifically about Pokemon cards and booster boxes and sealed product. about the last 10 years or so, he has been moving money, buying into big positions of Pokemon. He realized early on, hey, I feel like this is something to move money into. And as there's been more reprints, as people have not wanted it, as there's been extra supply, he's just compiling all of it. And now looks like a genius when he's showing what, $1 million, a few $1 million of sealed product, a bunch of evolving skies and stuff behind him. And now he looks like a genius because he was basically in early enough. And then the tide turned, momentum changed, people got into it, and now here we are today. My time horizon for a lot of the sealed product is 20 years. I'm 43, so that puts me in my, early to mid 60s roughly, and maybe I want to go and see the Great Pyramids in Egypt or something, and I can sell off some of these booster boxes or blister packs or whatever to make that happen. This is a fun little side collectibles diversification for me. So let me also throw that out there. For me, this is not going to be every last dollar I've got. Most of my investment dollars are in stocks, bonds, real estate, but collectibles are a fun way to diversify into something different. Alternative assets, if you will, in quotation marks. It's all very highly speculative stuff. But two sets that have really caught my eye as I've been doing more and more research, and I'm learning. So this is my journey. I'm putting it out here into the universe. I'm learning as I'm getting comments on videos. It's been a great learning experience. So XY Evolutions is considered to be a very important set over the last 8 years. From my understanding, this is kind of a reprint of the original base set, 1999, where it looks and feels like that set. And so there's a lot of nostalgia around that particular set, and it's popular within the world of Pokemon collectors, speculators, whether that's people that are collecting the cards or people that are collecting sealed product. Now, the other set, Evolving Skies, a much newer set, but it just has bangers. It's got great artwork. It's a very, very popular set. But if you look at the price points for these two, they're very, very similar. A booster box for Evolving Skies is about $1,000. A booster box, I've seen recent sales for XY Evolutions. It's in the same zone. It's like $900 to $1,100. But the difference that I'm seeing is that the individual cards, and I just pulled up PSA 10, but you could also look at raw copies here. Recent sales for Evolving Skies versus XY Evolutions. The Evolving Skies cards are a lot more expensive. There's a lot more hits, if you will, or just chase cards compared to XY Evolutions. My question, I guess, is that because this particular set just has better cards / better hits, more wanted stuff? Or is it something where over time, the Evolving Skies singles and the PSA 10s will move down in price? It's more of a newer release, and that's why they're more expensive. I'm trying to figure that out. Is most of the price points of the booster box for the XY Evolutions just simply people that collect the sealed boxes and the nostalgia around those sealed boxes in particular? And so that particular set gets a premium over others. Again, just trying to understand the difference between these two sets, but also just not just these two sets, but other sets as well. It seems to me within the Pokemon world that there's some sets that come out and they're trash. They're trash. Now, nowadays, I'm not even sure if that's going to happen because there's so many people speculating on the stuff now. People are just going to buy the new stuff because that's what everybody's doing. A lot more people are doing the Rudy Alpha Investments thing and just buying the new product and stashing it. But when you look back at other sets, now what I'm doing really is I'm looking back at whether it be Sword and Shield or even Sun and Moon, looking at Sun and Moon, is there a product that maybe wasn't popular that maybe is a little inexpensive compared to some of the others? Because it almost feels like it balances out over time. A lot of the stuff does. Is there something that, maybe now people are like, that's a trash set, but in 10 years, they'll be like, oh, that's Sun and Moon. That's really cool. Trying to understand kind of the rhyme or reason, and does stuff become trendy later on, whereas when it was released, it wasn't. And that seems to be the case. It seems to be the case where you have sets where semi-popular, it's an okay set, and then all of a sudden, 2, 3, 5 years later, it's like, oh, that's a banger of a set. So I know I went off on a little bit of a tangent, but specifically going back to XY Evolutions versus Evolving Skies, if you were on a 20-year timeline and you were just buying sealed product to hold it, which one would you prefer and why? I would love to know. I know there's Pokemon people coming in that are finding my second channel here for the first time. My other channel, Sports Card Dad, I'm separating the two because the sports card folks don't want to listen to Pokemon. And so here we are, Collectibles Dad's second channel. This has been completely revamped for sealed Pokemon talk. Friends, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.